Good morning, guys. Wanderer Beast. We're out here in the Pacific Northwest again for a quick weekend adventure, trying to knock out some videos. And LasFit 3-inch LED pods has been something that has been on this truck for almost 2 years now, well over a year and a half. Now, one of the things after I finished the LasFit 40-inch light bar review, and I'll put that up there, a lot of you really wanted me to compare the LasFit product of a 3-inch LED pod down here to the Diodedynamics, which I've also done that review. I'll put that up there. And they wanted to see how they compare. Now, I will be doing quite a bit of comparing between these two. I won't really say which one I prefer, because I think as you see as this review goes on, it really depends on what you're looking for in a 3-inch fog light. Alright guys, first let's rewind about a year and a half when I first got my hands on these guys and show you what it comes with. Alright guys, quick look at what you get. Obviously your lights, they are pre-wired into a Deutsch style connector that's over here. We'll talk about that connector in a little bit. And then standard little over the top bracket that will tap into the main housing. You can kind of see the breather on the back, as well as the fins for heat dissipation. But very classic style, you know, anything that a lot of the other lighting companies aren't using. Pretty easy to use and to install on most bumpers. The nice thing is, if you aren't familiar with the Deutsch style, in there is this same pigtail, so you can simply put this into the wiring harness that you have and run this, and it can be a quick disconnect. As well as Deutsch connectors have a great seal on there, so that it's a great waterproof option. Alright guys, as expected, all the mounting hardware is included, all the pigtails for the Deutsch connectors, everything is exactly what it's supposed to be. So, no surprises there. If you don't have a switch panel, I would look at LasFit's. They seem to have a really nice setup. I've not tried it yet. I'm currently reviewing a aux beam right now. But if you need a wiring harness, I would recommend their heavy-duty wiring harness. Everything I looked at, the size of the wire, the connectors, was everything I would do if I was going to set it up myself. So, very impressed with LasFit's wiring harness on here. Alright, now before we go any further, they did send me the 18-watt unit, as well as the 36 watt. This is what they're calling their Sport, and the Pro is their 36. That's what I've been mostly doing my testing with. I'll put in a shot here of me kind of comparing the two, and over the last year I kind of stopped comparing the 18 to the 36 because I didn't notice really a discernible difference. I think they're both equally great lights. If you want to save some cash, go with the 18. If you want to make sure you have the best from LasFit, go with the 36, and we'll kind of end that there. Alright guys, let's focus on the optics. The main reason you're buying this as a fog light, right? LasFit says this is a TIR, or total internal reflector, but if you look at the photos, they're using kind of a almost a projector, a bulb of plastic to help shape that beam, where Diodedynamics uses a lot of facets in their lens. You'll see a lot of cuts that'll help shape that light. So they both achieve the same thing, really. A fog light should get that light directly in front of your truck so you can see the road below. As low as you can go, as more power as you can get directly in front of your truck. Alright guys, we're looking at low beams on a little dirt road here. You can see a little bit of fog. There's high beams, you can see it's a little hazy right where I'm at. I'll see if I can find some foggier areas, but just to give you an idea, here's the 40-inch light bar. You can see it's just hitting a lot of that moisture and scattering the light, so obviously not ideal to have any sort of high beam on. And then of course the LasFit fog lights. You can see they're quite pronounced directly in front of the truck. I could have them a little bit lower, but I want them out there on that fog line. They're a little more directed towards the center. We'll try to get an angled shot. That's what a fog light is good for. Because when you have your headlights, your high beams, your driving lights, all that is going to reflect the snow, the hail, the dust, whatever fog you're going through. And so you really want to focus that. Now, if you look at some of the shots as we put in here, they do a really good job of putting a lot of light directly in front of the truck. The other thing you're going to see, comparing it to Diodedynamics with that 80-degree wide lens that Diodedynamics gets, is the light is much more scattered. It's also wider. Well, good evening guys. We just showed up to our turnoff. It is getting pretty snowy in, so I'm going to use the snow right here as an opportunity as a good reflector. We are still inside the rig. I've got my low beams on. This is what my high beams look like. Just a reminder what the LasFit bar looks like. Pretty impressive, really kind of washes out. I put my high beams on, doesn't do a whole lot to it. It really is a terrific little light bar. So let's go into LasFit fog lights. You can see we're getting a lot of light right in front of the truck. It's not terribly wide. You look off to the side of the truck. The very front along the fog line is very well lit up. Let's see, in comparison to the Diodedynamics, you can see a little more even, not really a hot spot, and it gets much wider with that SS3. In fact, if I do the LasFit over the top, you can see the LasFit fills in the front, but then you can see how much more the Diodedynamics really puts off a good spread. The LasFit's doing a good job right in front of the rig, but when I hit that SS3, you can see how much wider and more useful that fog light is. So I'm not going to tell you which is better. Honestly, it really depends on what you're looking for in a fog light. Do you want to see ditch to ditch, or do you want to have more intensity directly in front of your truck? That is totally up to you. I think they are both fantastic lights. Having this one in sort of my onset push button ready to go to compare in different conditions, I actually appreciated multiple times having more light directly in front of my truck, and comparing the Diodedynamics where the light was much more washed out but also giving me a broader light. So I don't know, run both. That's what I've been doing, but it really is up to you whether you guys decide which one is better or not. I will say over the last year and a half, having these in adverse conditions, from ice fog to snow to dust to storms, anytime I'm traveling, I always have at least one of these on. I think the yellow light on these guys is absolutely a key component to staying safe on long road trips, on adverse conditions where it's snow or dust or whatever you're trying to avoid. I would recommend having a yellow fog light on every rig you own. The other thing you're going to see is, because this lens is interchangeable, but you're also going to tell there's a slightly different color here. Now, I also want to say the LasFit does seem a little bit brighter because of its concentrated beam, but also a little bit lighter in yellow. So you're going to see the Diodedynamics is a much more amber color, and it's also wider beam. So in conclusion, guys, I've spent almost 2 years testing these lights, and they have never failed me. They are always ready to go. After doing the 40-inch bar, I absolutely loved LightFit for what they do, for their price point, for what they're putting out. I think a pair of these you can get for almost one of the Diodedynamics lights. They really are a step above a lot of the other budget lights that I've seen out there. I said as much in the 40-inch bar review. I'm still very happy with the 40-inch bar. You know, it's hard to find lights of this budget that are putting the quality into everything, including the optics. However, we'll talk about that in a second. But like with the LasFit, that you get fogging and everything. I talked about coming up this long, soggy monsoon of a California coast. Everything got water in it. My headlights had water in it. I've got to reseal those. These did not. However, my 40-inch bar did. Now, if you've ever checked out their LasFit website from when I did my earlier review, you know that you can easily take your breather off, turn your light on, let it kind of cook that moisture out, and put it back on. Who does that? That's a great feature, because every light I've ever owned has basically fogged up at one point or another, including the Rigid Industries super nice ones. Now, saying that, I've never had my Diodedynamics do that, and nor have I had these fog lights do this. So talking about beam patterns, personally for me, I like the wider pattern. I think these are going to work really well as more of a ditch light. And so I've reached out and I've ordered a ditch light mount for the E350 Econoline, and we are going to be testing these out with probably swapping out to the white lens, and I'm going to run these as a ditch light. That sort of narrow square beam with 36-inch wide, I think is going to be a really good ditch light. So of course these come in a driving pattern, these come in a spot pattern and a flood pattern. And again, you can get them in sport and in pro. Really, sky's the limit, guys. Decide what you want, but I would highly recommend these as a great option for a 3-inch LED off-road light. Let me know if you guys have any questions, comments below. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks for all the love and support. You guys are amazing. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow the adventure on social media, and we'll see you on the road.